Okay, we might start soon, just waiting for people to trickle in. I think we have some on YouTube, but not many on Zoom as of yet.
Is that right? So as I speak now, the people on YouTube can hear, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
be patient with us. It's going to be an amazing session. Going to introduce you some new skills you definitely don't want to miss. I know what you're not saying.
Okay, let me see. Yep. Okay.
So don't go away. Just stay tuned and hang on to your YouTube channel. Broadcasting.
After this, we hire you become our host lah.
Yeah, why not?
So
Why not we
good.
do that? Huh? I'm
So
from
good
Singapore,
already.
and since the Singapore Tourist Promotion Board won't hire me, maybe I'll do it for.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
After this, I send this video to them lah.
yeah. I'll promote for them. Such an exotic location. I could bring tons of Singaporeans over to enjoy
Yeah.
the country.
And the Singaporeans, they come here, they love the food. They just
Definitely.
like the street food everywhere, you know, they just love
Long
it.
me.
Follow me.
Follow me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we might as well start. You've got something on after this, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't want to delay that. Okay, so I believe we have a few people on YouTube, and usually they start trickling in as we start. We have just a few on Zoom, not yet. So I think these are the late comers. So, okay, hi everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday Talk Live by Place Borneo. Uh, my name is Mona Abdul Manap. For those of you who are new, welcome. Those of you who have been with us, we are on the 18th episode, so that's a lot. So we started during the lockdown, and we decided to just continue. So this is a platform for us to share ideas, information, and most of all solutions. We find ourselves in a new era now, a very different challenges that are facing us, and so we have to change the ways we are doing things. We have to upgrade ourselves so that we can fit into these new ways of doing things or new challenges that are facing us right now. So for those of you on Zoom, we have the Q&A option at the bottom, so you can ask your questions there. This time it's slightly different. We will go to the Q&A after Christian has finished his presentation, but just keep them coming and then we'll just handle them after. And those of you on YouTube, you can type your comments or your questions on the chat box on YouTube. And we'll be able to pick it up from here as well. Don't worry. So today we're going to be talking about body language, face profiling. So I think a lot of us know about body language, but face profiling may be something new. It was new to me. I've heard of it long time ago, but I didn't realize how important it was and how you could actually utilize it in your daily life and in your career. So today we're going to bring it a step forward. We're going to talk about virtual face profiling and body language. So before this, you've been meeting people, you know, doing sales calls. You go to their office, you go to events, the people face to face. So what you could do was, if you wanted to impress them, you could, you know, dress up really well from head to toe. You could bring a team of people, all of them dress so well. You know, they come in, they look like, wow, your team is so big, so good. And then you could also bring them, you know, some of your products, you know, as samples, as gifts, not bribery, but, you know, just gifts lah. So these are excuse me, these are things that could impress people. And some people depend on the size of their body, you know, and I'm big and strong. When I negotiate, I'm, you know, over you, kind of thing. But now you're in front of a screen, all you have is your voice, and your face and part of your upper body, and of course your presentation. So how do you maximize that, to if you're pitching, how do you close the sales? If you're interviewing, how do you actually get shortlisted or get hired on the job just because of your voice and your face? So how do we do that? So today we're going to be talking about that, and of course our expert will be talking about that. Let me just change the screen. Yep. So we've got Mr. Christian Chua from Singapore. Welcome to the show, Christian. Thanks for joining us. And Mr. Christian is an international masterclass motivator. So you're going to get really motivated after this. His expertise is in human behavior transformation, change management, people skills, sales motivation, communication, obviously, and life strategies. Life strategies, that's a big one, Christian. And he authored 7 books. And one of the titles actually stood out for me was Making a Fortune While Sipping Coffee. That's quite interesting. So I love coffee and I don't mind making a bit of fortune on the side while I'm sipping my coffee. So I think I might get that book. And he was featured in international media many, many times and invited to profile high profile leaders or to read the faces of high profile leaders like Donald Trump, Kim Jong un, and Benjamin Netanyahu, all on international TV. So he knows what he's talking about. So, guys, you're going to learn so much from him. So, hi, Christian. Thank you so much for joining us today, making the time for us.
Definitely my pleasure. Worked with you before. Love your city. Love Borneo. Just thinking about it already give me positive vibes. And bustling city here in Singapore, it's just lovely
Mm,
to be with nature.
mm.
So that's what you guys are famous for. I'm so happy to be on this show today.
Thanks, Christian. And I hope we can have a face-to-face session with you soon, when things are okay. So before we start, so guys, today is going to be slightly different. Christian is going to go through his presentation, and then after that, we're going to go on discussion or any of your questions that you have. So before we start, Christian, during the pandemic or after the lockdown and a lot of businesses were affected, did you see an increase in people requesting for face profiling or, virtual body language or anything of that sort?
Well, absolutely, it just went skyrocket. That's like, the Zoom stocks went up because so many people were using Zoom.
Mm,
We'd be so
mm,
surprised that executives that are so confident in their boardroom suddenly don't even want to turn on their cameras. When they go on Zoom,
mm,
they actually just put their name up there and then I'm just talking to a name. So yeah, so a lot of companies were hiring me to how to make them confident enough to switch on their cameras. And include
okay.
salespeople. You'll be surprised. Even salespeople didn't want to switch on their cameras.
Yeah, that's odd because you thought that salespeople were the ones who are, they want their face to be seen and want to talk to people.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'm going to share my screen. I hope you guys can still see me at the side. Can you see me at the side? So just a quick
Yes.
introduction to of myself. I've been doing professional speaking for 21 years, and whatever Mona said about me doing high profile face reading and body language, here are some photographs to prove it. This was in my local television station,
Wow.
covering the Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton's election of 4 years ago. This was watched by about 50 million people. Subsequently, Singapore hosted the historical Kim and Trump summit in Sentosa Island, and I was on BBC, Thomson Reuters, Australian 7, Lian He, Chao Pao, Wan Pao, and so on. So that's in a nut proof of life that I did it. So I also done other things like International Fraud Festival, and I heard that CIA and FBI agents were there to hear some of my techniques. Okay, so today
Wow.
I'm going to share 15 minutes of body language and 15 minutes of face reading. And body language is an old skill, and some of you may have read about it, but I'm going to share with you some of the essence. And then we're going to move on to face profiling, which is a very new skill. And I want to introduce it to you so that this super skill can be propagated further. More people can learn about it. Okay. So Mona mentioned about virtual calls and looking and feeling more confident. I think one of those things that you need to do is to make sure that you are comfortable how your picture appears. Some is too dark, some is too light. So you don't feel comfortable because you look so blurry. So there are a few techniques on the internet that you can go and do. You can check it out. One thing is to have a very nice clean background. Don't use a virtual screen because when you use green screen, when you start moving your hand, all your limbs all start disappearing actually, right? Okay, so get enough lighting. You can just change it from the exposure setting and then you're good to go. Okay, the moment you come on to a group of people that you're doing virtual calls, make sure you're heard. Just hello everyone, hi Mona, hi Akash, hi everyone. And with that short, low voice, rather than just I'm there but I've not been heard, it's just like a social setting when you're with a crowd and then you're just smiling but you've never been heard. So it's the same psychology. When you go, let's say for a wedding dinner and you're just the last one to sit on the table of 8 other people. Just say hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Christian. Nice to meet all of you. That's a creating a presence. Okay, so people know that you are not, you're not what? When you speak, you are chatty, and you don't speak, you are dumb. This is where the word comes from, dumb. Okay, so they don't say that you're dumb because you're not talking. That's why they say you're dumb. And I don't mean it in a bad derogatory manner. It's just the how the word dumb was defined. So the moment you start speaking, and the other thing you need to do is use longer sentences. It's so psychologically influencing your listeners. For example, people ask you, "How are you, Mona?" Fine. That's a one word answer. How's your family? Fine. Where do you live? Fine. So it doesn't make sense at all. So if people ask you, how are you doing, Mona? I'm really great. It's a bit cold here because it was raining, but more or less we are enjoying ourselves. What about you, Christian? You see, when you answer longer sentences, you sound a lot more confident. So that's one of those same techniques that you use in life that you can use on a virtual call. Okay, so that's your first trick I want to share with you. So we see this screenshot of a few people, and they're rehearsed, and we just want to show you what are the different problems with each of this picture. The guy on the left, he's leaning backward, so he seems very relaxed. Just the angle of the camera shows that he's like, you know, I'm greater than you guys, so I feel more relaxed. So that's not great. The second girl, the one that you see here, you see there's an angle, so it feels like the camera is tilted. Then the third one, there's not enough exposure here. Okay, this one is kind of okay. It's just a bit bland at the background. This center one, when anytime you put your hand on your chin, like this girl or this girl, then it says like, you're so uninteresting. You're boring. And that is the reason why parents tell children, do not rest your elbows on the table when you're having a dinner, because they tend to do this. You don't even put enough energy in your neck that you need your hand to support your whole face. Okay, this virtual call seems a bit untidy. So one of those things that I did was I found a blank wall. I decorated a little bit with a very inexpensive wine crate. Buy a $10 LED light and then put it up there. And I actually wallpaper my wall. Again, with very inexpensive wallpaper. I just wallpaper and then suddenly the color comes out. So imagine this is what my virtual background looks like previously, and then now it looks nice and stunning. Okay, so very simple techniques that can actually make you look fantastic. And by the way, since you're at home, you can actually dress up. What's the big deal? You don't have to take the bus, don't have to take public transport. Dress up, next moment, yeah, you're back in your kitchen doing a burger or something. Okay, so there we go. If you look this guy, he is totally bored, and people actually can, when they look at your eyes, they know whether you're listening to them or, yeah, your camera's on but your screen's on Facebook, looking at what your friends are posting up, what they are eating for breakfast. Actually, you can really tell. And while I am looking at Mona right now on my screen, eye contact means that I'm looking into my camera. See, when I'm talking into the camera, then I'm having eye contact with you. When I'm looking at the screen, I'm not having eye contact. So you must think like a TV broadcaster. Okay, he looks into the barrel of the camera. He must assume there's a huge crowd right now and you're talking to them. That's all. That's what it is about body language. That's the simple stuff. Okay, but the killer stuff now I'm going to share with you on body language would be this. Okay, when you do a negotiation, like some of you do a virtual sales call, and it's really convenient, isn't it? Like Sarawak is so huge, and if you want to make a sales call 2 hours away, now you find it so convenient if you just could get your client to log on and do a virtual sales call. But what you want to know is whether you can spot whether the client is interested or not. So like I told you, if a person's interested, he launched a little bit forward, and you see his face is getting a bit bigger. He's launching forward because he doesn't want to miss everything that he's hearing. So he's going nearer to the speaker, but he's also going closer to see your screen and whatever charts or details that you are posting up onto the screen that you're sharing screen. And that's the reason why they go closer. It's just like when you go out with your friends and then you start sharing gossips. Hey, you know what happened to Jason and the wife now? What happened? Then everybody lean forward, right? Why? Because when you're interested, you lean forward. So when you see your client starts to lean forward, they are more interested. Compared to the earlier example when I told you when the guy leans backwards, because there's a physiological change. I'm bored, I'm tired, I do not know what I'm listening, so I lean backwards.
Mm.
So you don't want to see that type of response when you're doing sales, and you don't want to give that kind of response when you are listening to people. So the moment you see your client leaning forward, everything's going well, he's really interested in your sales, your pitch. Okay, so your client is leaning forward. This is a neutral position, and this would be evaluating. So what I'm sharing with you is this. You say something that he's very keen, then suddenly you said something, he processes in his mind, the new information changes his emotion from I'm really excited and very keen to wait a minute, that doesn't sound right.
Mm.
So, for example, in your case, it could be a collaboration for events. So,
Mm.
so Mr. Christian, we'd like you to give this talk. Blah blah blah. Oh, I'm very keen, Mona. I'm very keen. Okay. However, due to the coronavirus, you will be quarantined in Kuching for 14 days before you can talk. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. So the moment the body language changes, okay, it doesn't come from nowhere. It must come from information that you're feeding into the person's mind that changes his emotion, and then it is reflected through body language. And body language is unspoken words.
Mm.
But when you catch the body language, you can immediately stop, pause, and say, what did I just say? That changed Mr. In this case, looked like a Japanese guy, Mr. Takaishi-san, from saying he's really interested to, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't sound so correct. It's a bit problem for me. So you go back and say, Mr. Takaishi-san, when I said that you needed to quarantine for 14 days, would that be a problem? Oh, huge problem. It's an opportunity cost for me, 14 days in quarantine. If it's a resort, I don't mind. With spa treatment, I don't mind. But if it's a resort or no facility, I don't happy. So that is how you catch people, because when you say something, it changes the physiological state. And for salespeople, when they're so interested to buy something from you, and then you set a new clause, and then that doesn't go well with him, he changes the physiological state. For example, the product that I introduced to you, so you need to pay 100% upfront. We can't give you credit. And they say, oh, I don't do business with no credit. So you can reveal that kind of unspoken information, and then you can tackle it. Okay, so these are some of my killer tips I want to share with you. Now, if the person in the same way went from interested, that means he's leaning forward, interested, to suddenly defensive. Now, this is worse than this gesture. This gesture, the good news is you haven't lost the deal. The bad news is you haven't won the deal.
Mm.
But this gesture is, I am not agreeing with what you're saying. Okay, so the same example, Mr. Takai-san, you need to normally we will take 50% down payment, but in your case, we're going to take 100% down payment because you're a new client. We have not dealt with you. Oh, very insulting. He doesn't say it, but that's how he's feeling it. So body language is exactly that. Okay, it is the feeling and the thoughts are manifested on the body language. Again, folks, this is just diamonds which I'm throwing to you. The whole body language workshop, a full complete one, will take 2 days, 8 times 2 days, 16 hours, and that will include how to catch suicide bombers. And I guarantee you, if you attend a 16 hours body language workshop, by the end of 16 hours, all of you will be paranoid. Everyone, you lying, cheating. My wife is.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's a joke. Okay, so that's the body language part I thought I could share with you. I think that's quite a lot of good stuff already. But I want to squeeze in, because the time is so precious, and I want to introduce this second part, which is going to totally mind blow you. And this is on a new skill called face profiling or face reading, not fortune telling, but based on the science called epigenetics. This science is quite new. It's about 22 years old. This science is about 22 years old. So many of the doctors may not have even been trained with this. And epigenetics says this: your DNA may remain the same throughout your lifetime. It doesn't change. But there is such a thing called gene expression. Your genes can express itself. So when we were conceived in our mother's womb, we had one cell, then became 2 cells, 4 cells, 8 cells, 16 cells. And then this group of cells suddenly forms a ear, forms a nose, forms the eyes. but it's all from the same cell, but it can be expressed very differently. So if a cell can become a ear and a nose, which is very different, why can't a ear be expressed in a different manner? You have different ears from me, I have different nose from me. And this is what we're talking about. And what affects the facial features are your thoughts, your beliefs, your environment. If you're in a suppressive environment, your face will look different. If you grew up in a loving environment, you look different. And that's the reason why sometimes when you look at a guy and say, I don't quite trust this guy. Society asks us not to discriminate. Religion asks us not to be judgmental. But in science, we call it profiling. Why is it this guy? Oh, I don't trust him. Why? Why, Mona? Oh, I have this feeling. It's not a feeling. It's you already have this intuitive um, sense that you picked up vibes from the facial feature that this guy can be trusted or cannot be trusted. Okay, so when I show you these three pictures, three of them are convicted criminals and three of them are corporate executives. Which one do you think are the corporate executives and which one are the convicted criminals? All of you say the top row, right? Yep, correct. Actually, nobody is responding. I'm just pretending. So the top row is the convicted criminals, and the bottom row are the corporate executive. How do you tell? Oh, they look creepy. No, it's from the eyes, the slitty eyes. It's from the smaller mouth. It's from the downturned cheeks, etc. That's how we are going to help you define it right now. Okay. So your features are affected by your environment. On your left-hand side is a typical young boy's face where the nose is usually very small and the nose bridge is very low. On your right-hand side, you see Iqbal Mercier, which have adult-like features, right? You see the nose bridge is so strong. The short story is Iqbal Mercier was sold to slavery by his father at 4 years old. But instead of dying in the slavery camp, Iqbal Mercier was so strong in terms of his mental strength that he did 2 prison breaks. He broke off one time, went to the police. Police was corrupted, threw him back into the slavery camp. He came out the second time. He went to the authorities, and then he started to speak about child slavery at the age of 12. Unfortunately, he was assassinated on 1995. But the thing I want to say is this: if a child is so powerful and so independent, you will see it's already manifested on the face like an adult feature. That is what I'm trying to talk to you about today. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a few skills. You know I'm cramping it all in 15 minutes, but I just want to prove to you that the science exists. I'll give you some links later if you want to. You can Google my name, Christian Chua Face Reading. You have some clips on YouTube, but I'm going to give you some links later if you want to deep dive into this skill. Okay. So now I'm not going to use science to prove anymore. I'm just going to teach you what to do. If you split your face, your left side of your face, this side, your left side is your personal side. So whatever we read on your left side is talking about more of your home, your family, your relationships. And whatever we read on your right side is more about your career, your future, and how you're thinking about your professional side. Okay, so it is not symmetrical at all. It is not. Sometimes you have one ear folded this way and the other ear flat. And what does it mean? Okay, so in Mona's case, she's already hidden her ear. So
Yes.
yeah, if I see her, I cannot like blow her hand. What are you doing? Trying to look at your ears, lah. Okay, so you can't do that. Okay, so I'll pick up some features here so you can see. But old people are a bit easier to read because they've gone through a lot and there are lots of lines on the faces. It makes it easier to read. Okay, so for anyone with an angled eyebrow, they look more fierce. Okay, they look more fierce, and because they need to get things right. The eyebrow says a lot. If the straight eyebrow, they're very logical type. Curved eyebrow, they're very friendly type. And then angled eyebrows, they are more argumentative type. So when you say, oh, the guy looks so fierce, where did the fierce look come from? It's from the eyebrow. Okay, so the eyebrow, they look more fierce. And if you have a client like this, don't argue with them. They want to win. Okay, just go with the flow. Just agree with them, then sell them something and take their money. Okay. Okay, the bump on the nose again is another feature that tells you that they are very aggressive and they want things their way. So there's a big bump here. Okay, when we talk about high nose bridge, like that little boy, you see my nose bridge is just average. But some people's nose bridge can come from the top of the forehead and it comes straight down like a Roman helmet. those people are extremely independent. In this case, you can see that, you see the nose bridge is like, wow, one airport runway. People are very, very independent. So you go and you see those people, those of your friends who are very independent, they can work alone, they make very decisive decisions, will have strong nose bridges. Those with smaller nose bridges, it's not that they are not decisive or independent, they love working with a group of people. Okay, so these are the, when you, even when you do hiring, we see those with the small noses, they love working as a team player. This guy hates to be micromanaged.
Mm.
Okay, then thin upper lips. Thin upper lips, when he's not smiling, his lips are thin. People with thin upper lips are very, they may have been hurt before, and they're very, very guarded in terms of sharing or letting you in into their personal zone. Okay, they're very guarded with their emotions. It doesn't mean they're not chatty. They can be very chatty, but they will talk about you, talk about other things. They don't talk about themselves. Because when you ask them, where do you live? Oh, west. Which road? Near, don't know which shopping center. But they don't give you an exact address, things like that. Okay, you take a very long time to warm up to them, and before they trust you and get you in a zone. This is extremely good when it comes to networking, because when you want to network with those with the thicker lips like Mona, very chatty, very friendly. And Mona's countenance is just fantastic. I just believe that if I hang out with her, we're just going to be good friends. With her round cheeks and all, her countenance is just so friendly and so hospitable. Okay, so when you see a person with very thin lips, it takes a longer time to network. So if you're going to a networking session and you want to create meaningful relationship, look for faces like Mona and not faces like this guy, because after an hour of chatting, you feel like you don't even know him.
Mm.
Okay, then there are things like jobs. This little jobs, oh, people have jobs. No, 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 no. People who were in command, that means they were in leadership, the jobs tend to appear. People may be old, but they were working in jobs that didn't have to take lots of responsibility. You might not see this type of jobs coming up. Okay, so this is where where I teach bankers to spot rich people. Those people who have jobs, could be CEOs or army generals, people in high positions. Okay, so they may be grumpy and all, but that's where the money is. Not necessarily they have money, but the chances of having money quite a lot more, because they were in high positions. They could have lost it and it could be bankrupt. We don't know, but there are higher chance that these guys have big money. Okay. Then there's compassion lines. So this people have got, this guy, one countenance, when you look at him, you know he has gone through quite a lot, very emotional. He even looks angry, isn't it? This is seen by this line here, and also this line here. As you can see, this is a personal side, right? If you draw this line in the half, this is called a personal side. And this personal side has a big scar. Compared to this scar is a bit different. On his personal side, he has gone through hell. He's gone through grief. Okay, it might be a breakup in a relationship, loss of a child, could be any of these things that you will have this very deep scar here. Okay, so if viewers are looking at me and say, so how old are you, Christian? I'm 53. I know I don't look 53 at all. Oh, Mona is shocked. Say, he's so old. Not gonna date him anymore. I'm 53, and the reason why I'm looking so young is because if you keep your mind positive and happy, the lines don't
Mm.
appear. You forgive quickly and you don't hold grudges. If you're always in negative zone all the time, it shows into your face, on your face. That's why you look at a person, what happened to you? You look so weary and down. And some other people, they look so happy. Okay, so if you remain happy, that's one way of getting off your wrinkles. So that's the secret line or the trauma line. Okay, going to speed up a little bit. I'm going to hand it back to Mona. Now you see the ears, people with flat ears, they are more compliant. Okay,
Mm.
and this kind of whatever I'm teaching you is just basic stuff. There are other things. It's just like teaching you medicine in 15 minutes. Sometimes there are hits and misses because there are other factors to consider. But in general, it's like that. If your ears are flat down, you're a more compliant person. And if your ears are sticking out, you're more out of the box, non-conformist. So if you want business development, get the guy on the right. You want a team player that follows orders, get the right guy on the left. Okay, in general, the right guy would tend to be more creative, but there are other 3 4 other points to see creativity, but 10 this is in a rule of thumb. That's one of the things that sticks out. Okay, there are more than 150 points to read in the face reading. So far, I hope you guys are finding interesting. So finally, we'll just compare these two faces. immediately who looks more friendly. Not just because of the smile of the girl, but her round shape, her round face, her curved eyebrow, okay? Her gums are showing, her round chin immediately tells you she's more friendly. It doesn't mean the guy on the left cannot communicate or not friendly to you, but he is more left brain and he's more intense, which means when you network with the guy on the left with the squarish jaw, deep set eyes, squarish forehead, he prefers a conversation more with maths and science, data, and non-fiction stuff. Okay, he likes an intense conversation. Whereas the girl on the right, it's okay to talk about the supermarket thing, the watermelons on sale, and all those things. Okay, so that is how you kind of judge. Okay, so this QR code is just in case I don't need the sale, but just in case you want to know more about it, I have a 10-part course on Udemy. Very, very inexpensive. You just take out your phone, screenshot it, and then later on, if you want to go Udemy, I do a 10-part course on this. Systematic is probably one of the super skill that is so readily and cheaply available for you guys if you want to take on the course. Okay, so with that, that's my introduction to body language and face reading, and I'm happy to do my interview with Mona. In a few minutes, I will remove the screen. So if you want to take the QR code, take it right now. I want to go back to the big screen so that you can see me and Mona doing the interview. Okay, so go ahead, Mona. Are there any questions that has come in?
Not yet, but I do have one question from myself. When you were yeah, when you were talking about that just now, we look at people and then the lines, professional and personal, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances of misinterpreting someone's body language? Okay, that was face profiling. So are there any chances? I mean, we're new, and then if we just learn it based on some of your tips, so what are the other factors that may affect, like them crossing their arms like that? Maybe they're cold, or
Very good. Okay,
yeah.
very good question. For crossing of arms, you have actually three possible outcomes. Crossing of arms is I'm not happy, I'm cold, or my chair doesn't have an armrest, and after watching a seminar for 6 hours, I'm very tired, so I cross my arm. So if you look just at the arm crossing, you get it wrong. So you look at the facial expression. So if I'm crossing my arms because I'm cold, but I'm still listening to Christian, I'm nodding, I'm smiling, I'm reacting to the jokes, then you know it's cold. Okay, but if I'm crossing my arms and I'm giving you this twisted smile, and I'm rolling my eyes, then you know that the feeling is negative towards me.
Mm,
Okay, and then there's a third thing called speech analysis. So if I'm not sure, if I see an audience behaving like that and I'm not sure, I go into speech analysis. So I'll go like, hey Mona, you enjoying the workshop so far? And if you are, you immediately answer, yeah, I am, love it. But
oh.
if you don't like it, but you still want to be polite to me because I'm the trainer, it will sound something like that. Mona, are you enjoying the workshop? It's okay, it's okay. There's a hesitation, and then you don't give a compliment. You go on
Mm,
neutral ground. So with
mm.
that, I immediately picked up. So that's a great question.
Okay. And there are some people who are just born, okay, not to say born negative, but maybe they're just a bit negative in terms of how they react to things and with people, or they just, their face is just always resting bitch face, they call it, right?
Right.
So how do you, like they look like they're always unhappy with whatever you're saying, but maybe they're not. Maybe it's just their resting bitch face. So how do you differentiate that between them being happy and them being just normal face like that?
So when I talk about countenance are quite accurate. The first look, you don't look like that resting whatever face you just said. Okay, and then when I talk to you, you start to smile and trigger. I'm very sure who you are. Okay, so
Mm,
yeah, the first look could be, but the truth is, if you like, you see the old man's face just now. The truth is, he's generally an angry and unhappy person,
mm,
but he can step up and like meeting people for the first time or going for a party, he can smile and everything, but that is
mm,
need not be his zone most of the time. Most of
mm,
the time he's in an angry zone, or he comes in an environment which is very difficult and he goes back to a very angry family.
mm,
So generally is that. So again, the viewers, body language tells you about that person's feeling now at this moment. Face reading is already a cumulative behavior that has been mapped in the face. So face reading is on personality. Body
Okay.
language is on his current emotions. Two different things. Okay?
Okay.
It cannot be mixed up. Body language, you can keep changing. Face reading, I can read you once and I don't need to read you for another year.
Mm.
It don't not likely it's going to change for a year.
Oh, okay. And we have one question from Jessica. Does body language differ among between male and females?
Body language does not differ between ethnicity and gender, but it differs in intensity.
Mm.
So, like an Italian, they might, oh, mamma mia, I love you. Mwah, mwah. But for the Japanese, they might be more subdued. Oh, I'm very happy. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so that differ in intensity, yes. Body language should not be mistaken with cultural symbols. Like,
Mm.
this is not body language. This is a sign. Good. This is
Mm.
in Asian, sudah makan, sudah
Mm.
makan. But
Mm.
in US, this is a bad sign,
Yeah.
right? So it must not be mistaken for that.
Okay. So you before you meet someone, obviously, I mean, for salespeople, you should know a bit about the person, the background. Obviously, then you know a bit about their culture, or you should know, or you should try to learn a bit more about their culture, and knowing certain things about what that culture feels that it's rude or impolite, or what it seems to be appropriate, right?
But yeah, that's a cross-cultural etiquette. But your
Mm.
question also opened another Pandora box. It's not just about face reading and body language that reveals a lot of things to you. There are things like graphology, handwriting skills. There's
Mm-hmm.
spot medication, looking at the condition of your skin, your hair, your teeth. We can
Skin.
even see you got great teeth, very great teeth, skin condition, and your hair. I can just tell that you have a healthy living.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. That
Mm.
is how accurate it is. So there are many, many other skills that can be involved in this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah, we have a question
Question says,
again.
how
Yeah,
much of it is art and how much is science?
yeah.
How long does it take for anyone to get good at reading faces? Uh, in any topic, Cynthia, if you eat, drink, and sleep that topic, I think within 4 months you can be an expert. That's 8 hours a day for 4 months. Any topic actually. Um, you get a feng shui master and you say, just teach me. Every hour I'll throw $100 at you. I think after 2 or 3 days he will say, I have nothing else to teach you, because
Uh,
yeah, that's how limited the knowledge is required. So to what extent can culture play into facial expression? Eastern facial expression. Okay, facial expression is under body language. Okay, facial expression is under body language. So it does play a part in terms like the Westerners are more expressive and they say, hey, good day to you. Oh, that's a lovely dress. Oh, so they are more expressive. So it can go both ways. They can compliment you extravagantly and they don't mean it, but they
mm,
can also insult you a lot and they don't really mean it too. But for Asian culture,
mm,
we are so affected. We say something like, we insinuate she rolled her eye. She was rolling at me. Oh, I'm so hurt. So yeah, that I think that it does play a part. But in terms of body language and reading, no, you can it points you to the general right direction.
mm.
but but like faking, like faking, like if you go to an airline and the air stewardess say, hello, welcome to Singapore Airlines, and you can see a real smile and a fake smile. So a real smile from the heart, you'll see the crow's feet, you'll see the muscles all raising up. If the guy is just smiling for the fun of smiling, welcome to Singapore Airlines, Singapore Airlines, so you can tell that. Okay.
Yeah. There's another question. Is the resting bitch face a myth or a truth? I mean, is
Depends what
it really does it
what,
really
what do
happen?
you define as a resting bitch face?
That means when you're on your own, or you're just I don't know,
When you're
relaxed, or
relaxed, your face look like
yeah,
you're a bit.
like like
Interesting. Okay,
yes.
so there are 43 muscles in the face, the buccinita, the orbitaries, and all those. As we grow older, our face sag. That is why women like to use face lifting cream and all those kind of things. So I have one simple trick to. I am my face is also sagging, although
Mm,
I'm generally happy. So there's one trick to overcome that. Okay, if you bite your teeth, you will see my. If I bite my teeth, you'll see both of my muscles lift up a bit. So I'm going to do the before and after. Before and after. You see, just by biting, I look more friendly.
Boleh?
Okay, if I don't bite, can you see that? Okay, so just by biting my teeth is a very subtle sign. When I go out, when I do this, I look more friendly. More people come to talk to me. More people share seats with me at the food center or things like that. Okay, you don't need to go like. Then the Institute of Mental Health van will come and handcuff you and put you on a straight jacket and bring you away.
Yeah. Could it also be that the resting bee phase is when you are, thinking about something intense and your emotions are showing because you're thinking about, how am I doing this? So your face is like, like that.
Yeah, once the frown is come in, then it's an emotional. You see, like people go around like that. Okay, it is not a resting phase. It's a stress phase. It takes energy to frown.
Mm,
What is your relaxed face when you're sleeping? So take a picture when you're sleeping. That's your face.
okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
if
your
they're
resting face.
saying resting bee phase means that you are actually thinking about something or feeling something. It's not actually a
Yeah,
resting phase, right?
yeah. I don't know. Unless you're thinking negative things all the time, then you're having that face all the time.
Mm. Well, there are some people who think negative things all the time.
Yeah, there are.
Okay, so what would you say are actions or body movements that are how I say threatening or aggressive that you should people should avoid at all costs when you're meeting with
I'm
people?
sorry. Can you ask a question again? I didn't hear that.
What body movements or gestures or actions that you should avoid when you're meeting people, talking to someone?
You mean yourself?
Yeah.
Uh, what you should avoid? You
Mm,
should avoid folding your arms. You should avoid
mm,
frowning. Okay, you should avoid making any of those kind of like you don't hear. You know, I think if I say something like Donald Trump's a good guy, you immediately go
mm,
okay. So that reveals your position.
mm.
It's just about awareness. You do not need to be aware so much about your facial expression than your feelings, because your feelings automatically send the electric signals to look like that or look like that or so or or so on. The better tip I will give you is your smile is the most fantastic God-given gift thing that you can actually display. Your smile is disarming. Your smile tells people you're friendly. Even a dog looks at you and he waits for you. He wants to decide whether you're aggressive or a prey. So you run away, the dog chase you. You chase the dog run away. So the dog also is trying to sense, okay? So the reason when you watch things like Caesar Milan and all, why the dog always succumb to him? Because he just has that assertiveness that they
Oh.
succumb to him. That's it. Okay, so if you want to avoid problems, smile. You can smile. Your neighbor makes noise. You just ring the doorbell. You smile, and then you talk and you nod. They are not going to be triggered in a negative way.
Okay. And some people have this habit of shaking their legs, the restless leg syndrome, they call it. So that's a habit. Sometimes they're not impatient, or maybe subconsciously they are, but
Yeah,
they just shake their leg where they're talking to you. So
right.
like how do you make someone stop doing that? I mean, when you're talking, you notice that they're doing that. So
Okay.
are they impatient or is that just habit?
What a great example, Mona. The next time you see your counterpart do that, try to change the topic and engage them in a topic that they're very interested and intense, and then you see whether their legs stop shaking.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
because you see, there's a left brain and right brain. Your left brain is a mechanical brain, and your right brain is the emotional brain. And if I'm a left brainer guy, and you keep talking to me about the watermelon is on sale, my left brain is very bored. That's why I start flipping the pen or tapping the pen or I'm doing this or I'm looking into my phone. Okay, if this interview right now is uninteresting, then many of them might be on the phone getting
Mm,
entertaining themselves. But if
mm,
we did a good job and we're entertaining them, both left and right brain. So the left brain is when I'm giving them information, and the right
mm,
brain is when I'm cracking the jokes.
mm.
So when I entertain the left and right brain, our audience will still be fixated towards us.
Mm, okay. Cynthia is saying that she finds herself crossing her arms a fair bit, but it's not because she disagrees with the speaker. I just don't know where to put my hands at the moment in time. Would a trained observer be able to tell? I think this is what you mentioned about. But if someone like that, would they know that she's just don't know where to put her arms, so just
Um,
crossing it.
uh, I agree with Cynthia that probably 80% of the time you may not don't know where to put your arms, and we need
Mm.
to be trained. That's why we go for etiquette classes. But 20% of the time is that your real feeling. So yesterday I was at a
Oh.
bicycle shop with my son, and the guy I was asking him what new tires he could recommend, and he started recommending me very expensive tires, like $800 for a pair of tires, $1,000. And next moment I realized I was folding my arms because I felt that I
Oh.
was being sold, and I was defending myself. See,
Mm.
even as a body language expert, my emotions would just take over, and my body language shows itself. And then I needed to be aware, and I needed to be trained. And then I dropped my arms and I started smiling.
Mm.
Okay, so Cynthia, if you have a problem, don't know where to fold your arms, you could always clasp your arms and put it in front of you. Since you're a lady, also.
Mm.
Okay, so you can just clasp your arms and put it in front. And if you find it difficult, you can actually carry something. That's why some people carry a cup when they are networking. Okay, so there's
Yeah.
no way of folding your arms.
Okay. Yeah, I find it more comfortable when I have something in my hand, like I'm
Mhm.
holding something. So if not, then I also don't know where to put my hands. Um, in your experience, have you completely inaccurately, profiled someone, and then after that, when you met the person in person, then you found out, oh, totally opposite of what I thought she would be.
Well, these are very high level questions that you're asking. I love the way that you are triggering me. First answer I need to tell you is think about this like in medicine. The more symptoms you have, the more accurate the doctor can
Mm-hmm.
diagnose. But then there's such thing called a general practitioner and a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
And a general practitioner is just at that level. So a lot of you, if you're doing it for the first time, you're a general practitioner. What does a specialist do? A specialist also have information of extremities. It doesn't happen very often, but there are certain disease that's 1 in a million, 2 in a million. And that's why when the doctor cannot solve it, say go see the specialist, because the specialist has knowledge about that. So that's what we're talking about. So I am the specialist, and I will take in psychology, chemical imbalances in the mind. So yes, there's once when this guy asked me to read his face, and I did 4 readings, and he said all 4 are wrong. So I said I apologize. I do not know why I got it wrong, but I think I should stop reading your face. Then I went to the organizer and I said, "Who's that guy? Why am I reading his face? He says he's a mental case.
Oh.
He has a psychological problem." Okay, so
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
whether he's lying to me or he's not telling the truth, or it just goes off the scale. So there are extremities in this. So you're
Mm.
asking me about that. When I'm on my game, I do not get it wrong. I do not. I made lots of career risking predictions,
Okay.
and I did not get it wrong.
Oh, okay. So like Donald Trump and Netanyahu and all that, you
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
profiled them quite
Okay,
accurately.
for the viewers, I was flown into Israel to talk about the 4 prime minister candidates before their election: Benjamin Netanyahu, Benny Gantz, Abby Gabel, and so on. And in the audience were 100 CEOs from the IT industry, and I was telling them about their own potential prime ministers, and they raised up their hand and say, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Singapore." He said, "You don't know them?" I said, "I don't know them." He said, "We know them personally, and you are spot on every time."
Wow.
He said, "We have lunch with them, and they are high level people, so they are quite close to
Mm.
some of the candidates." And so you're
Mm-hmm.
spot on every single point. You are spot on.
Mm. Okay. Well, yeah, that's quite, if you said something wrong, it would have been not
Career
so good.
damaging.
Yeah. And have you come across people who are, well, you're always accurate when you do face profiling, or you decipher what their body language tells you, but are there people who are difficult? It's just difficult to tell, what they mean, what they're feeling, or their face profile. It's difficult to tell what who they are, or what
So
kind of.
again, there's 2 categories. The other one is body language. The other one is face
Yeah.
profiling. So face profiling, we like to see extremities. So I have a picture which says this is the average guy, average eyebrow, average everything average. There is no extremity. So what you want me to talk about him? No, he's just that average person.
Mm-hmm.
We like to read when a person is off the scale. very angry, very this, very that. That's a lot easier. So when I look at you, you kind of the kind of fairly average. Besides your large, very round face here, and I can't see your ears. So I will read a few things like, okay,
Okay. Okay.
okay, kind of again looks kind of average to me in many ways. Okay, your eyebrow. The only thing I see in your eyebrow is that your left eyebrow has some hair sticking up this way. Your left,
Yeah, here.
yeah, there. Yeah, 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 that one. Is that left?
Oh,
Is that left
it's
for you?
my left. Yeah,
Yeah,
my
the
left.
left. So
Yeah.
that's your personal side. So when you make decisions, you always go back to your past and say, this happened before. So what will happen if I do this again? You kind of go backwards. Okay. So that's the only thing that I'm pretty sure. The rest of the things are your large cheeks, or maybe I might stretch it and I say this part of yours is a bit big. So your friends love to tell you secrets. Hey, Mona, I tell you this secret. You don't tell anyone. Only I tell you. Please, only you. Do you get something like that? Some
I've got I've got a friend who is also attending today. He loves to tell me secrets. Yeah.
secrets, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
you have that trustworthy face that allows people to tell you.
Ooh.
So that's that part. For the body language part, the question you're asking me is if the person do not express themselves, not responding is already a body language.
Mm,
Not responding is already a body language, right? So when I asking you the
okay.
question like Mona, are you enjoying my workshop? And you just keep quiet. The non-response is already a body language because I know if you like it, you say yes. If you don't like it,
Mm,
you keep quiet.
mm.
Okay? So yeah,
Okay, so if you're talking to someone and you're watching their body language, you also notice a certain things about their face, I guess.
right,
So it tells you a bit about their character.
right.
So you should change what you're talking about if it doesn't appeal to them.
That's the main point actually. So
Mm,
yeah, you become very likable because you just know what to do at the right time. Yeah,
mm,
but besides face reading and body language, of course, I know all the other profiles are the MBTI, DISC, and all those. All these things help because you can immediately plug all this information in and say, hey, that's that character, introvert, extrovert, empathetic, task oriented.
mm,
If you know all this, it actually helps. And when a person says he's a profile expert, he needs to know a wide spectrum of things, just not just he knows DISC. You mean the whole world is just four categories of people? DIS and C? No, it's not. Huge amount of categories.
mm. We had a speaker on Enneagram.
Anagram, right?
Enneagram, yeah. So I think there's some, excuse me, eight or nine,
Nine.
nine, yeah.
Yeah.
So is that also like is
Part
that
of the profile.
accurate? Yep.
It's a very ancient profile, very accurate, very interesting. So all these things help complement the new skills that you have, like body language.
Mm,
Right? So you're asking that question, could that person be his character is like that? Yeah, his anagram type is perfectionist. His anagram type
mm,
is this. So coupled with his body language, I read him 100% accurate, or else it's going to be
mm,
very general.
mm. Okay, if okay, probably this is going to be coming towards the last few questions already. If
Mhm.
you see a person who is okay, the a very very
I'm
tough,
sharing my screen again so that if people want to go to the
yeah, that's great.
go ahead.
So if you get someone who is tough, like you can see from their face that they've gone through, tough things. They command respect, like from the jowls and all
Yeah.
that. You mentioned about, and then they're talking to you like that. So how do you disarm them? And especially in business, especially if in my own personal experience, being a small size girl who looks very young, like sometimes people think I'm teenager like that. So how do you talk to someone, this big CEO, like uncle, like that, and then how do you?
Exactly that word I was waiting for. You see, if the guy is a CEO and he is the authoritative type, and if an alpha male and alpha male, Mistigado. Okay, sure
Ah,
quarrel. So what you do when you're a small girl, you use that super skill of yours. So you call uncle. Why? Oh, you're so, he becomes soft because that's what he wants, that adulation from you. I like this girl because she admires me. So
but
when you
isn't that unprofessional if you
no,
call someone?
it's a super skill. If you know how to do this, you get things done your way. And as big as this Goliath is, who thinks he can intimidate you, you are wrapping around his little finger by saying, wow, Mr. Whatever CEO, can you teach me how one day I also want to be like you? And then you become his opium because he feels so good when you're sucking up to him. And then every time he wants to replicate that feeling, Mona, he must
Mm.
go to you like a heroine.
Mm.
Okay, so if you use that skill, uncle, the EPF, terima kasih lu.
Okay, yeah, because personally, that has been some experience that I faced earlier lah, when I was just starting, so I have to meet a lot of clients. So a lot of them are professors.
Right,
They are lecturers, professors, and guys, and like, okay, some of them, the bigger the size and the more smaller I feel.
right,
So then, and especially government officers, even worse lah, I would say. So they'll be like, oh, like that, and they don't even want to listen to you.
right.
But for me, I will talk in terms of content. I've got content lah. I know what I'm talking about, and then I can see them slowing down. But I don't use that uncle, like soft. I don't do that, so I'm not so used to that. But that kind
And,
of
I,
makes
and,
sense.
and I'm not saying use that for everyone. If you know the profile very clearly, you know when to use it. So some of them want to feel powerful and they want you to put they want to put you in your place first. So the other
Mm.
body language is like, yeah, where are you from? Place Borneo. What can I do for you? When you see such body language, you know they want to have power over you. And that's when you use this super skill to wrap arm around the little finger. But whereas majority of people who are professional, you win them over with your knowledge and your specialty,
Mm.
and they felt that you are not wasting their time. Okay,
Mm.
so whatever I'm saying this, and this is recorded, I'm sure, is that I'm not saying that whatever I share is one size fit all cookie cutter technique. You need to know when to use them.
Okay. One last question. I know there are some students or fresh graduates who are listening to us as well. If someone is attending or going through an interview online, and they notice that their interviewers may not be so responsive or not so attentive, so how can you change what you're talking about, or what can you do as an interviewee?
Well, the interview skills is just open another big Pandora box. First of all, you need to know what type of culture that company is. So if you're
Mm.
going like Google and all those, they want a person that's outspoken and can think out of the box. But if you go into a government board where they want things more legalistic and bureaucratic, then you have to behave to suit their culture. So they want to see whether you're the right fit. So that's the first thing I need to say. But in order to break down the barrier, don't be too formal.
Mm.
Hi, my name is Mona. I have just graduated. And when you're being so formal, people is going to be formal too. And all of you guys who are listening in, if you are sales, the faster you can break the ice and humanize with your customer, the more comfortable they are with you, the less uncertain you appear to them, the easier they are going to buy from you. So in many ways, if you are that hang loose, chirpy person, hi the interviewer, hi Mona, and you can crack one or two jokes. Like I did a lot of jokes here today because I just want the audience to feel that I am the boy next door.
Mm.
Okay, you know why? Because if they say, I do not know if I can hire Christian Chua, he's like so stern, he's so official, will he scold me if I text him? I don't want people to feel that way. So this gives me an opportunity to tell all my audience, if you ever need me to give a lecture or a speech, christianchua.com. Christian@christianchua.com. The selling. Okay.
Yeah, they can contact us as well. We have your email address and number and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, we're coming towards the end of the show. We've got 1 hour already, and I think we can go on and on. There's so many interesting things that we can talk about in terms of body language. I've always been reading about body language. I'm so interested in it. I was in sales before, so I sort of forced myself to actually know a bit lah, because you need to know what people are, how their response is going to be like. And I'm not very good at meeting people, so I try to get myself ready so that I can prepare how to talk to them. So I think it's quite an interesting thing, and face profiling is a totally new thing for me, and I think to a lot of us. And I thank Christian for opening this up, and I think we need to read up a bit more on this and perhaps attend his training at the QR code that you gave. Is it Udemy? Yeah.
Udemy. Yeah,
Udemy.
Udemy.
Yeah.
So this American site, I think it's like 40 Singapore dollars, same currency.
Mm.
Yeah, 40
Yeah.
Singapore, maybe 120 ringgit.
Okay, yeah, that's very affordable. And if any one of you are interested to attend, you can click on that. Or you could contact Christian directly if you're thinking of hiring him as a host, a speaker, or anything. Yeah. So we've got a few more questions, but I think we've come to the end of the show. And I think we'll reserve that for next time. Thank you so much, Christian.
Thank you, people of
Yeah.
Malaysia.
Anything else you want to share? Any last few words?
Yeah, the pandemic will come to an end. We must live our life like the world is not coming to
Oh
an
my
end.
God.
We must live
Yep.
our life like it's not. If it comes to an end, too bad, die anyway. But we must live like it's not coming to an end. We must make plans for the future, for the future of our children, for the future of our career. Okay.
Mm, that's good. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.